Once thriving with budget surpluses, these blue states are now facing financial crises that are leaving residents and governments reeling. Skyrocketing spending, high taxes, and mismanaged funds have turned prosperity into struggle. In this video, we're uncovering what happened in these blue states, why they went from surplus to broke, and the real impact on families and communities across the country. The golden era of surplus. Not too long ago, states like California, New York, Illinois, and New Jersey were celebrated for their economic prosperity. These blue states boasted budget surpluses in the billions, fueled by booming industries such as tech, finance, entertainment, and manufacturing. The surplus allowed governments to fund ambitious projects, expanding public transportation, modernizing schools, launching environmental programs, and increasing social welfare initiatives. Citizens enjoyed relatively strong public services, and politicians touted their fiscal management as evidence that progressive policies and strong economies could coexist. However, this period of abundance masked underlying vulnerabilities: reliance on volatile revenue sources, rising costs of living, and structural debt obligations. Over-reliance on high taxes. High taxes became the backbone of these surpluses, with top earners and corporations paying a significant portion. In California, the top income tax exceeds 13%, while New York combines state and city taxes to reach double-digit percentages. Illinois and New Jersey also maintain some of the highest effective tax rates in the nation. During periods of economic growth, this strategy produced ample revenue, allowing ambitious spending. But surpluses evaporated quickly when markets declined, tech valuations fell, or corporations relocated to more business-friendly states. Middle-class families, paying property and income taxes at significant levels, faced the consequences of these fluctuations, often seeing limited improvements in daily services despite contributing heavily to state coffers. Escalating social program costs. Blue states pride themselves on robust social programs, including expanded Medicaid, public housing initiatives, child care support, and educational funding. While socially important, these programs have ballooned in cost. Medicaid expansion alone consumes tens of billions annually in states like California and New York, with costs rising steadily each year. Homelessness programs, mental health services, and student loan assistance add additional strain. During periods of economic downturn, the burden of sustaining these programs falls on fewer taxpayers, amplifying the financial strain. Ambitious social agendas, while politically popular, have created a fiscal environment where even small revenue declines can turn surpluses into deficits. Pension and retirement liabilities. Public employee pensions are another major contributor to fiscal decline. Generous retirement benefits promised decades ago now strain state budgets. Illinois, for instance, faces over $150 billion in unfunded pension liabilities, while New Jersey and California have similar structural obligations. Investment shortfalls, changing demographics, and increasing life expectancies exacerbate the problem. Each year, a larger portion of state budgets is allocated to cover pensions, leaving less for infrastructure, education, and other essential services. Pension obligations create a long-term liability that cannot be quickly solved, contributing to the perception of financial instability and broke status despite historical surpluses. Housing costs and business exodus. High housing costs in blue states not only pressure residents, but also impact corporate decisions. In California, median home prices exceed $1.3 million in San Francisco and Los Angeles, while Manhattan apartments often rent for over $3,500 per month. When employees struggle to afford living near work, businesses face recruitment and retention challenges. Tech giants like Oracle, Palantir, and HP have moved operations to Texas, citing affordability and tax relief as key reasons. Financial firms and professional services are also relocating to Florida and Arizona. This migration reduces corporate tax revenues, leaving states with fewer resources to fund services, exacerbating budget shortfalls and accelerating the decline from surplus to deficit, debt, and borrowing to maintain services. When surpluses evaporate, many blue states turn to debt to maintain public services. Issuing bonds and short-term loans temporarily fills gaps but increases long-term obligations. Illinois, for example, has accumulated over $150 billion in long-term debt. California and New York face similar pressures, borrowing to cover pensions, infrastructure, and emergency programs. Interest payments on these debts reduce fiscal flexibility, making it difficult to respond to economic downturns or invest in growth initiatives. Debt becomes a double-edged sword. It sustains services temporarily but compounds future deficits, feeding the narrative that formerly prosperous states are now broke. Political choices and fiscal management. Political decisions in blue states have compounded fiscal strain. Ambitious spending programs, resistance to cuts in popular services, and regulatory policies that slow economic growth all contribute to budget stress. Frequent policy reversals, litigation, and administrative delays hinder long-term planning. While progressive priorities, healthcare expansion, environmental initiatives, housing programs reflect voter values, they often outpace revenue generation. States attempting to maintain social programs without structural reforms find themselves trapped between political expectations and economic reality. Middle-class households bear the brunt of this mismatch, as taxes remain high while service quality stagnates or declines. The path forward: recovery or continued decline. Blue states can recover, but it will require structural reform, fiscal discipline, and economic strategy. Diversifying revenue sources, managing pension obligations responsibly, and prioritizing sustainable social programs are critical. Retaining businesses and encouraging economic growth without overburdening taxpayers is essential to restoring fiscal health. Investment in infrastructure, urban planning, and housing can stabilize communities and attract talent. However, failure to address these issues risks continued outmigration, declining revenues, and reduced public services. The journey from surplus to deficit is a cautionary tale. Ambitious policies must be balanced with long-term fiscal responsibility, or prosperity will remain fleeting. That's the shocking reality. Blue states that once boasted surpluses are now struggling with debt, high taxes, and economic strain. Families and communities are feeling the pressure, and the ripple effects are reshaping the national landscape. If you want to understand the forces behind these financial collapses and how they affect everyday Americans, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay informed on these eye-opening trends.